Hey y'all, it's Amber. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. Whether you're a first time visitor, returning viewer, subscriber, welcome. I'm happy to have you. Welcome to another video. So today is bookish related. I got my bookish related shirt on. It says Good Days Reading Society, Old Navy. Cute. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do so. Make sure you turn on notifications so that you can be notified every single time I make an upload. With that being said, let's get into the video. So today I'm going to be sharing my fall TBR. I got 6 tall stacks on the floor that reach pretty much where I'm sitting. And I'm excited to get through them. I will talk about the storylines or plots for most of them. It'll be short, quick, to the point. I do have them separated by genre. So if there's a particular genre that you're in the mood for, then you can skip around as you need to. I will include whether these books that I mentioned, even though I may have most of them physically, I will mention if they're available on Kindle Unlimited, just because I know I like to use Kindle Unlimited for books that I don't physically have, as well as being able to read the books that I do have at night. My camera battery is about to die. We just getting started, so let me change it and we'll get right on into it. We're going to go ahead and get started with fantasy, the fantasy genre, just simply because that's what I'm most in the mood for. Some of these books may also be dystopian, some of them may be sci-fi, but I just pretty much put them all under the umbrella of fantasy. First book that I have is The Unmaking of June Farrow. A woman risks everything to end her family's centuries-old curse, solve her mother's disappearance, and find love in this mesmerizing novel. Adrienne Young, I actually have a couple of her books. I've never read her before, but I'm in the mood to get to experience new authors, and this is a book that I've seen a lot on BookTube, so it's something that I wanted to check out for myself. Hopefully I like it. I'm currently reading A Court of Wings and Ruin. Y'all, this book is real hefty and thick. I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I've been reading ACOTAR through my Kindle and my audiobooks just because I listen to them when I'm on the go. It's been a minute since I sat down and physically read an ACOTAR book. It's been since A Court of Thorns and Roses, if I'm being completely honest. I've already started this. I think I'm only on like chapters 1 or 2, so I'm in the very beginning. I look forward to continuing the series, learning more about this story. I think this might be the last story from Faeries' point of view. I'm excited to see how things go. I'm locked in. I'm not gonna tell you the storyline because I don't want to ruin it. So next I have Metal Slinger. This is a book that has gone viral on BookTok, and apparently it has a sequel that's coming out called The Light Wielder. I'm not exactly sure when it's coming out. It says that it's packed with knife fights and seafaring adventure. Metal Slinger is a smash hit start of the romantic fantasy fire and metal duology. I have started reading this book before. I've gotten a few chapters in. I kind of understand like what the storyline is going to be about, just because I've read quite a bit thus far and the writing is really gripping. It held my attention. I was just focused on trying to get through other books, so I kind of soft DNF'd it, but I look forward to coming back to it because so far so good. Legends and Lattes. I do know that this is a series. An orc warrior leaves the blade behind and finds that it is never too late to chase a new dream in this novel of found family, fresh starts, and the perfect cup of coffee. And as a coffee girl, I am here for it. Look at this picture, y'all. It is absolutely beautiful. All right, y'all, we back. Let's fly through these fantasy books. The next book or series that I would like to start and ideally read, the Lightlark series by Alex Astor. I did read Summer in the City by this author and I really enjoyed her writing, so I'm looking forward to going back to her humble beginnings and get into the Lightlark series. Every 100 years, the island of Lightlark appears for only 100 days to host a deadly game where the rulers of 6 realms fight to break their curses and win unparalleled power. Each ruler has something to hide. Each curse is uniquely wicked. To break them and save themselves and their realms, one ruler must die. To survive, Isla Crown must lie, cheat, betray, even as love complicates everything. So I'm looking forward to reading the Lightlark series. I've heard mixed reviews, but I will form my own opinion when I get to it. Next book or series that I'm looking to read, and I believe this is just a duology. I don't know if this author is coming out with more books or not, but this is So Let Them Burn by Camilla Cole. There is nothing that Farron won't do for her sister. As Farron's desperation to find another solution takes her down a dark path, and Alara, her sister, discovers the shocking secrets at the heart of the Langlish Empire. Each must make difficult choices that will shape the other's life as well as the fate of the world. When I bought this book, I got it at a Black-owned bookstore, Kindred Stories here in Houston. I was speaking with one of the employees that worked there, and she was telling me that this is likened to the Fourth Wing series. I mean, I really enjoyed Fourth Wing. I DNF'd Iron Flame just because it was a lot going on and I could get with it, and I had to switch over to the audiobook because me just reading it for myself, like, it was infuriating. And I only only got halfway through it before I had to DNF it. So I'm looking forward to reading Camilla Cole's story. I think it's a little bit different, but I'm looking forward to being reunited with some dragon characters in a story. Emily Wilde's Encyclopaedia of Faeries by Heather Fawcett. This is a series. It's a 3-part series. I believe that this is likened to cozy fantasy. And it says a curmudgeonly professor journeys to a small town in the far north to study fairy folklore and discovers dark fae magic, friendship, and love in the start of a heartwarming and enchanting new fantasy series. I've heard a lot of positive things about this. I do not recall seeing a single negative review about any book in this series, so I look forward to reading it, finding more about this fairy life, just reading and seeing what the hype is about. I also have my girl, Sally, and it's The Hour of the Pumpkin Queen by Megan Shepherd, and this is following my girl Sally, a character from The Nightmare Before Christmas. Is Sally's time as Pumpkin Queen running out? Sally and Luna embark on a journey to unmask the truth, encountering more towns, friends, and foes along the way. But the clock is ticking, and as Sally fights to save Jack in her hometown, she wonders what kind of future she really wants and what she must sacrifice to get it. And this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. It has a little steampunk type vibe for the sprayed edges, and I love Sally. I love The Nightmare Before Christmas. Is something that you're gonna notice for Halloween and part of Christmas. I will have Nightmare Before Christmas decorations up, not necessarily during my fall time, but when it's time for Halloween and Christmas, I'm definitely gonna have that up, and you will see what that's all about. So I look forward to that. Jack and Sally are truly meant to be, or are they? When Sally stumbles upon a long hidden doorway to an ancient realm called Dreamtown, she unknowingly sets in motion a chain of sinister events that throw both her and Halloween's town's futures into jeopardy. Can Sally discover what it means to be true to herself and save the town she's learned to call home? Or will her future turn into her worst, well, nightmare? Looking forward to reading about the Pumpkin Queen, my girl Sally. Next, I have the Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole, and this is a part of the Kendra's Curse Saga trilogy. I do have Glow of the Everflame. I need to get the 3rd book. I can't remember what it's called, but y'all know. I'll pop a picture of it on the screen. But it says when old secrets catch fire, everything will burn. I do think that this is a romantasy series. I've heard mostly good things. I don't think I can ever recall hearing anything bad about the series. I do have like the little special edition, and that's why I don't have the 3rd one. I do know that these are available on Kindle Unlimited, so if I get to it before the paperback edition comes out of the 3rd one, then I will just read it on Kindle and wait for it to be printed so I can purchase it and add it to my bookshelf. But I'm looking forward to reading Spark of the Everflame. Something that I have been really wanting to read for about a year now is the Belladonna series, which I believe is classified as gothic fantasy. For as long as Signa Farrow has been alive, the people in her life have fallen like stars. Orphaned as a baby, 19-year-old Signa has been raised by a string of guardians, each more interested in her wealth and her well-being, and each has met an untimely end. It looks like her best chance of uncovering a murder is an alliance with death itself. I do have the entire series. I've heard really phenomenal things about Belladonna series. The books are absolutely stunning and beautiful, and for whatever reason, the covers are definitely giving me Pretty Little Liars vibes. So I am looking forward to get into the Belladonna series this fall. Next book I have is considered dystopian or sci-fi. I think it's science fiction, and that is Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. We have this main character who must make her voice heard in order to protect her loved ones from the imminent disasters her small community stubbornly ignores. But what begins as a fight for survival soon leads to something much more, the birth of a new faith and a startling vision of human destiny. I do have these books on Kindle. I'm not sure if they're Kindle Unlimited or not because I purchased them, but I will include whether they're on Kindle Unlimited or not. And I'm looking forward to reading Parable of the Sower. I have a friend that read this and she talked about it on her podcast episode. I'll leave that link down below. Shout out to my girl Wit. She had a lot of beautiful things to say about the book without spoiling it beautifully enough. So I look forward to actually reading Parable of the Sower. Another book that I would like to get off my TBR list is another classic, and that is Fahrenheit 451. And we are pretty familiar with what Fahrenheit 451 is about. We focused on this fireman whose job is to destroy the most illegal of commodities, the printed book, and the houses in which they're hidden. He never questions it. He never goes against procedures. He does this. He goes back home to his wife, who does the same thing, living the same and routine life. But when he meets a young neighbor, Clarice, who introduces him to a past where people didn't live in fear and to a present where one sees the world through the ideas in books instead of the mindless chatter of television, he begins to question everything he has ever known. So I am looking forward to reading Fahrenheit 451. I mean, if you're paying attention to what's going on in the world, then you understand why this is relevant. So I'm looking forward to reading this and getting this classic off of my TBR. Another one that I have is I Who Have Never Known Men by Jacqueline Hartman. This is about 39 women who live imprisoned in a cage. They're watched over by guards and they have no memory of how they got there, what time it is, and they only vaguely remember their life before they got to this place. But there's this 40th prisoner who comes and shakes things up, and it says soon she will show herself to be the key to the others' escape and survival in the strange world that awaits them above ground. And I've heard phenomenal things about this book. As y'all can see, it is really short. It's less than 200 pages, so I could easily knock this out in a day, and I'm looking forward to reading this. I saw this in a bookstore. I believe it was Brazos bookstore, also here in Houston, and I walked past it like 3 times and I had to come back to it because the blurb that was written by an employee there it kept bringing me back to the book, and I had to get it. And like I said, I've heard nothing but great things about it. Another book that has been on my TBR, I think, for spring, summer, and now fall is Water Moon by Samantha Soto Yambao. It's a young woman inherits a pawn shop where you can sell your regrets and then embarks on a magical journey when a charming young physicist wanders into the shop in this dreamlike and enchanted fantasy novel. As you can see, I have a bookmark in it, so I have every intention on actually reading this book, but for whatever reason I just have not. So I hope to put this on my September TBR. The next video that I'm going to be filming is going to be my September TBR jar video. So either way, this will be off of my TBR list before winter comes. The Poppy Fields by Nikki Ehrlich. This video going to be lengthy, y'all, so make sure you get you a snack or something. This is so beautiful. Look at how pretty this is, y'all. We got the little poppies on the front. Stunning. What if there were a cure for the brokenhearted? So this is a book that's about heartache, hope, and human resilience. It explores the path of grief and healing, a journey at once profound, universal, and unique to every person, posing the questions: how do we heal in the wake of great loss? And how far are we willing to go in order to be healed? I am in a state of healing. I'm not necessarily in a state of grief. So I'm looking forward to having more reads in the fall that are more profound, that are more sentimental, that will get me in my feels, because I'm in my feels right now. We're going through a lot. I'm going through a lot. And so I just want books that speak to a variety of things. I want to laugh. I want to cry. I want to see myself. I want to see other perspectives. I want to do all of these things. So I'm looking forward to reading The Poppy Fields. This is a book that I saw in Barnes & Noble just in passing. It caught my attention, so I had to get it. Babylonia, I just hit myself, by Constanza Casati. King falls, queen rise. It's a common woman, the governor she married, the king who loved them both. Welcome to the empire of gods and men, and the one queen destined to rule them all. So I'm guessing that even though this is fantasy, this is kind of like a historical fiction type fantasy book. I'm guessing, or it's based on something, but look at the inside. Stunning. Sprayed edges, stunning. I'm looking forward to reading this. This book is definitely out of my comfort zone, but I'm into buying books out of my comfort zone right now. How else will you figure out what you do and don't like if you don't read books outside of your norm? Y'all, these 3 books alone are so heavy, y'all. Look at how thick this stack is. I swear to y'all, this weighs more than my son. These 3 books weigh more than my son. The first of them is The Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillick. I also want to read One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns by this author as well. I hope to get to them in the fall, but if not, they will definitely be on my winter TBR. This is a gothic, miscloaked tale of a young prophetess who is forced on an impossible quest with the one knight whose future she cannot see. And I do believe that this is a romantic novel, and I'm looking forward to reading it. The font size on this book is big and clear, and I am here for it. I am here for it because the tiny writing on these thick books, like I'm about to show y'all with Bound in 13, it's ridiculous. Make the font sizes bigger, folks. Thanks. Next, I have Rose in Chains by Julie Soto. And I believe that this is a fanfic retelling. I don't know who Drax and Hermione is, or whatever it is, Dramione, I don't know, but I don't know who that is or where they come from. I just know that this book has been hyped and I had FOMO and I had to get it. The war is over, the dark forces have won, and the hero who was supposed to save them is dead. But in a world where magic can instantly crush a human heart and even thoughts can be stolen, there can be no such thing as love. Not for Brianni. A secret rebellion is brewing, and she needs to find a way to escape her cage and join it. Yet despite the horrors of her new world and the role she must learn to play within it all, is not lost. Help and hope may yet arise in the most unlikely of places. Now, I am scared of this book, y'all. I have wanted to read several books by this author, including Babel and the Poppy War series, but y'all, Catabasis, the way I've heard so much about this book, first of all, I mean, Dante's Inferno meets Susanna Clarke's Piranesi in this all-new dark academia fantasy. What more can I say? I've heard so much about this book. It is really thick and heavy, so I'm not gonna lie to you. I am definitely gonna be reading this on Kindle. I can't remember if it's Kindle Unlimited or not, but like I said, I will make sure to add that information on here for you. But that is what we have for fantasy. Y'all, it's quite a bit. It's a lot. I already know, but we're going to keep it pushing. Our next genre we have is nonfiction, and I only have one book on my TBR for nonfiction for the fall, and that's In Cold Blood by Truman Capote. He is recounting the murder of a November 15th, 1954 in Holcomb, Kansas. 4 members of the Clutter family were savagely murdered by blasts from a shotgun held a few inches from their faces. There was no motive for the crime, and there were almost no clues. However, as Truman Capote reconstructs the murder and the investigation that led to the capture, trial, and execution of the killers, he generates both mesmerizing suspense and astonishing empathy. So this is a true crime nonfiction. Fun fact, Harper Lee actually helped him get all of the information, do the investigation and journalism to be able to write this book. She did help him. He did not credit her for that, and that's a whole story in itself. Let's get to this general fiction. It's quite a hefty stack. So I'm gonna try to get through this as quickly as I can. First up, I have Blue Sisters by Coco Mellors, and this is about a group of sisters. One of them has died, unfortunately, and so the other 3 are coming together to navigate grief, addiction, and ambition. They have to stop the sale of the apartment that they were raised in, but coming home obviously is not going to be as simple as that. Why ain't nobody told me that y'all can see these pillows in the background, y'all? I don't mind the heart. That's the heart that my son got from his cardiothoracic surgeon after his heart surgery. But that little kiwi lime, y'all could have told me something, y'all. Next, I have another classic, The Color Purple by Alice Walker. I mean, y'all, the irony of like what has been happening this week, I wanted to join a Facebook group that is focused around Black women reading. And some of the questions were literally from The Color Purple, y'all. I cannot make this up. I was telling my husband about how The Color Purple is a Black staple. Me and my mom were like quoting lines to each other the other day. And so it was just fate telling me that it was time for me to go ahead and read The Color Purple. The Color Purple breaks the silence around domestic and sexual abuse and carries readers on an epic and spirit-affirming journey towards transformation, redemption, and love. The Bookshop Sisterhood by Michelle Lindo Rice. And this is a group of friends that come together to open up a bookstore together, and it says, as the bookstore's grand opening fast approaches, the 4 women must learn to lean on each other now more than ever to navigate their grief and uncertainty. And together they'll learn that sometimes even life's most unexpected plot twists can lead to beautiful new beginnings. And so I am looking forward to reading about sisterhood. I'm looking forward to reading about the bookshops. I am just looking forward to being introduced to a brand new author. Again, the font size is phenomenal. The book is not too big and too thick. So thank y'all for making my TBR a little more reasonable. I mean, it's pretty out of hand. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's pretty out of hand. Am I gonna read half of these books? I mean, it would be a good fall if I do read half, but we gotta have options. You know what I mean? Next option is Difficult Women by Roxane Gay. This is a book about a pair of sisters who have been inseparable ever since they were abducted together as children. A woman whose husband switches places with his twin brother, a stripper putting herself through college, an engineer in Upper Michigan for a job where she is the only Black face. Gay gives us voice to a chorus of unforgettable women and paints a ride-haunting picture of modern America. Next book that I have is Here One Moment by Leanne Moriarty. There's another book that I also want to read by her, and I've been wanting to read it for years, and it's like Apples Never Fall. It just gives me fall vibes. Anywho, I do have this book in hardback. I believe I got it through Book of the Month. It's in my storage, and it says, life is full of twists and turns you never see coming, but what if you did? And I believe this is about a group of passengers on the flight, and one woman predicts somebody's death on the flight. Yeah, she makes predictions about how and when passengers will die. A few months later, a first prediction comes true, and I guess it just goes from there. So I'm looking forward to reading this. Moving right along, as I mentioned previously, I am going to be highlighting and celebrating Hispanic, Latino, and Latina authors. During Hispanic Heritage Month, I will be creating separate reading vlogs and videos, and how I will be celebrating in a blended family, just all of those things. So stay tuned for that. If you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and do so. With that being said, we have Daughters of Latin America. It collects the intergenerational literary voices of Latin women across time and space, capturing the power, strength, and creativity these visionary writers, leaders, scholars, and activists divided into 13 sections thematically representing the 13 holy moons. Need to know more about that. Spanning centuries, genres, and geographical and linguistic diversity, this anthology is a resurrection of ancestral literary inheritance, as well as a celebration of the rising voices encouraged and nurtured by those who came before them. Goddess Complex by Sanjina Sathian. Sorry if I mispronounced that. This is a biting examination of millennial adulthood, the often fraught conversations around fertility and reproduction, and the painful quest to forge an identity. And I am looking forward to reading this book. This is a book that I had on my summer TBR. I did not get to it, but I look forward to reading it in the fall time. The Bright Years, which was also on my summer TBR list, but I did not get to it. And I believe this is another book that's about motherhood. Told from 3 intimate points of views, The Bright Years is a tender, true-to-life novel that explores the impact of each generation in a family torn apart by tragedy, but over time restored by the power of grace and compassion. So I lied. Maybe this is not about motherhood. Either way, I'm just gonna leave it at that. I'm not gonna look at the additional synopsis. I have Dream Count by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. And she is the best-selling author of Americana, as well as a multitude of other books. And I'm looking forward to reading Dream Count. It looks like this is following different women on a transcendent novel that takes up the very nature of love itself. Is true happiness ever attainable, or is it just a fleeting state? And how honest must we be with ourselves in order to love? This is a reflection on the choices we make and those made for us, on daughters and mothers, on our interconnected world. Last but not least, for fiction, I have The Academy by Ellen Hildebrand and her daughter Shelby Cunningham. Secrets, rumors, and dangerous liaisons at a new elite New England boarding school. They come with the territory. It says, as the year unfolds, bonds are forged and broken, secrets are shared and exposed, and the lives of Tiffin's students and staff are forever changed. So I'm guessing there's some kind of scandal that takes place. All right, let's get into these romance books. I'm gonna try to make them quick, and we're gonna group these books together because why not? So we have some Justa Hastings here. We have Daisy Parks, The Great Undoing, and Magnolia Parks, Into the Dark. These are the last 2 books of the Magnolia Park series, and I think I'm finally ready to go ahead and finish them. I did say that I'm probably going to reread them all, and I think I want to tandem read the Magnolia Parks and Daisy Hayes books together, but I will likely do that when they come out with the 6th and final novel, whenever that is going to be. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and finish these 2 books, and then I also want to get to the Conditions of Will. I do know that this book is on Kindle Unlimited, at least as of the day that I'm filming. I'll make sure to update whether that's still true or not as I'm editing the video. I've heard a lot of great things about the Conditions of Will. She did have another book that just came out, Time of Your Life. I heard mixed reviews about it, and I look forward to reading it, but it didn't exactly scream fall to me, so it wasn't high on my priority list for fall. There are 2 characters who lost their father, and during the reading of their father's will, it revises a surprising bequest to a mysterious stranger. Georgia's ability to read people becomes crucial in unraveling her father's hidden past. The delicate balance within the family teeters, and secrets, both old and new, threaten to push them beyond the breaking point. There are only so many cracks a damaged family can take before it shatters. And I do know that it does deal with romance. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So I look forward to reading all 3 of these books by Justa Hastings. Hopefully I'm able to put them on my September TBR. I have The Heartbreak Hotel, Your Baggage is Welcome Here. The vibes of the cover just really gives me fall vibes anyway, so I look forward to reading that. It says, a bed and breakfast for the brokenhearted might hold the key to another chance at love in this achingly hopeful debut romance. So it looks like this is going to be a second chance romance type book. Again, look at how stunning this cover is, y'all. We have Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh, y'all. This is what I mean by a thick book. Y'all see. Very floppy, okay, but super thick. Look how tiny this writing is, y'all. Look how small it is. I'd rather read it on my Kindle. At least I feel like when I have books this thick, y'all, first and foremost, this would hurt my hand to have to hold, okay, for a long period of time. I can do it. Do I want to? No. I did buy the UK versions of this book, but they are also just as heavy and the font is just as small. We're just gonna keep to reading it on my Kindle, but I am unfortunately reading like several books on my Kindle right now. So I am likely going to have to switch to the physical book, but I've already started this book and I'm gripped from the beginning. It's really, I don't wanna say too much, but so far I'm really liking it. I hope to enjoy the entire series. I know it just released, the last book releasing 10. I'm gonna read my way through it for now. I'm only committing to reading Binding 13 for the fall, but if I get to more, okay, great. Another book that I have, again, by Julie Soto. She is the author of Rose and Chains. I mentioned her earlier. And this is Forget Me Not. And this is a wedding planner and her grumpy ex must work together to plan a celebrity event in this deliciously spicy and funny novel from fanfic sensation Julie Soto. So it looks like Julie Soto takes a lot of fanfic and makes novels out of it. Either way, I look forward to actually being able to read this. Next is a book that I've heard is really heart-wrenching, as is the When Farrow Was Here. And I'm looking forward to reading. This is You Reach Sam, and this is about a teen who lost her boyfriend. She had all of these things planned out and she's heartbroken, so she has to start over and pick up the pieces. It's a heartfelt novel about love and loss and what it means to say goodbye. So she ends up getting a message that Sam, her boyfriend, left behind in her yearbook, and it causes these memories to return. She calls his phone one more time, but he actually picks up. And so I'm looking forward to reading more about You've Reached Sam is going to be about. I've heard, from what I've heard with the few reviews that I've seen about it, it is a book that is going to make you sad and quite emotional. And I just look forward to being emotional because I'm in my feels right now, and I'm in the mood to read some books that's gonna have me in my feelings. I gotta take this sticker off, y'all. I did not get it from this place that will not be mentioned on my channel. I got it from Book Outlet, but apparently they got it from this store. So I just want to make sure that if I show this book again, this tag is not being seen. Once Upon a Time in Dollywood by Ashley Jordan, and this is a debut novel. And it's a playwright must grapple with her difficult year in writer's block while falling for the single dad living next door. And it's an emotional debut novel, and that's all I need to know. This is a book that I have had on my radar for quite a while because I did request the e-arc and I did not get to it in time, but I really want to hurry up and read this book so that I can get that review turned in. And I wanted to go ahead and get the physical copy because I could have did the ebook copy, but why not do the physical? So this is a book that I'm actually going to be putting next in my queue. So whether I get it in the TBR drive video that I'm about to film after this or not, either way, I'm going to be reading this book in the month of September. So I'm looking forward to reading that. Now I'm going to put this over here. I have The Best Man Unfinished Business. Typically around Thanksgiving holiday, I like to watch the Best Man movie. Not the first one, but the second one. Best Man Holiday. Because why not? I love it. I'm here for it. And I just love the festivity of Best Man Holiday. I honestly would like to have that playing in the background when I decorate for Christmas, if I can help it. So I'm looking forward to reading this, and I believe that this is only focusing on Jordan and Harper. If you know, you know, and if you don't, I encourage you to read the book because why not? It says the beloved characters from the Best Man movies and hit television series. Yes, I forgot about the television series. We will be watching that as well. Reunite for a sexy and soulful, heartbreaking and hilarious reckoning of love. And so this is just following, this is going to be the first book in a trilogy. Ooh. And it's following Harper, Jordan, and Robin, which is Harper's ex-wife, as they try to establish their lives away from the hurts of the past and come to realize that some love is impossible to break. With support from their close-knit crew of chosen family, Quentin, Shelby, Lance, Murch, and Candace, they fight for a future that proves one second act can be the extended chapter worth it all. So this is a second or third or fourth chance. I mean, count it up. Romance. I'm here for it. Looking forward to reading that. Then we have Sweet Heat by Babalola. And this is a second chance romance novel as well. First of all, a moment for how beautiful this cover is. And this is the same author that wrote Honey and Spice. Get it together, Amber. Honey and Spice. I have the e-copy of Honey and Spice on my Kindle, but I don't have the physical copy. And I don't know why I don't, because I will be ordering that soon. But anyway, this is the second book. I don't believe that this is a series whatsoever. And it says 2 exes, 1 summer wedding, 0 chance of escaping the heat. This is another book that I have like on my immediate, as I finish reading books, TBR list, because it is summer, and before I get too much and too deep into my fall bag, we need to go ahead and finish up these summer reasons. This is one of them. Forget Me Not by Stacey Willingham. Also got this through Book of the Month. I believe that I got this maybe in July. So 22 years ago, Claire Campbell's older sister Natalie disappeared shortly after her 18th birthday. With the summer now looming ahead, a summer spent with nothing to do in her childhood home with her estranged mother, Claire decides on a whim to accept a seasonal job at the Galloway farm. Seems like this idyllic replaced, but I'm guessing there are some dark things that may be connected to her sister's disappearance. I don't want to read anymore because I don't want anything spoiled, and I don't want to spoil anything for anybody who may want to go into this blind. So I'm looking forward to reading Forgive Me Not. I've heard pretty good things about it. So that is it for all of the fiction books that I would like to read. The last genre that we're going to be talking about and focusing on is mystery, thriller, and horror. And yes, I know that those are 3 different genres, but we're going to group them all together because why not? Whew. All right, y'all. Last but not least, we're going to go ahead and get into this mystery, thriller, suspense, all of the above genres. And we're going to start with a book that I am so looking forward to reading. I'm going to put this in my automatic September TBR list because I am looking for, as soon as September 15th hit. I don't know why I have to wait for September 15th, but it's giving Hispanic Heritage Month vibes. And since we're going to be celebrating, I know it's going to be in that reading blog, but Loteria by Cynthia Pelayo. So these are stories based on the Loteria cards. Like you can see the card and the translation. Y'all, I have never played Loteria. I've owned like several copies of Loteria and never got to play it before. And I need to see what's up with that because why have I not? Anyway, I saw this book just randomly browsing through Barnes & Noble. As you can see, it's a Barnes & Noble exclusive copy, and I will be moving that sticker off of my cover. But anyway, I saw it, and as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to have it. I knew I had to have it. It just drew me. Inspired by the Mexican card game of the same name, which features 54 iconic imagery and symbolism. 54 cards. This collection highlights each of the cards, and every tale is inspired by a unique Latin American folklore, legend, myth, or belief that existed in the Americas long before the European counterpart. The stories explore the quiet and uncanny, and sometimes the gruesome and the grim, to provide a glimpse into the rich history of fairy tales and folk stories from across a number of Latin American countries and communities. You don't have to convince me of anything else. I have Out of Body by Nia Davenport, and I do know that she is a Houston H-Time girly. I got this from Brazos bookstore, and they had highlighted Houston authors. It came to me. I remember it. It looked like she grew up in Atlanta. I lived there for a year, in case you didn't know. Anyway, this is about a 17-year-old who has been hopping from friend group to friend group. Nothing sticks until she meets this particular girl who feels like she wants to be like this new girl that is in her life. So on the night of their friend anniversary, what was supposed to be a bonding experience ends in a waking nightmare. Suddenly, Megan is no longer herself. Too late, she realizes that Elsie has secrets, dangerous ones. Betrayed by her best friend, thrust into another girl's life, and targeted by Elsie's enemies, she must claim what makes Megan Megan to get her life back or die trying. Next is The Black Queen by Jumada Emil, and again, so sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. Everyone loved her. Homecoming killed her. This is definitely giving me dark academia horror vibes, and I am here for it. Nova Albright, the first black homecoming queen at Lovett High, is dead. Murdered the night of her coronation, her body found the next morning in the old slave cemetery she spent her weekends revitalizing. So this is giving an undertone of racism. It's what it's giving, I think. Everyone loved Nova, and sometimes love is exactly what gets you killed. So it looks like her friend is trying to figure out, like, get to the bottom of what's going on. Y'all, there's another black book. What is it called? Homecoming Queen or something like that. Y'all, I read that book, and when I tell you I ate it up in like a day, I bought 2 copies. One for my personal library and one for my classroom. I gotta figure it out, but it's definitely like Carrie. This gives me Carrie vibes. I mean, I love that one, and this is really giving me all the feels that I need to feel like I'm gonna enjoy this one as well. The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. I've heard so many great things about this series. 2 of my friends have raved about the entire series. They loved it, and I'm looking forward to actually reading it. Welcome to the family, Nina Winchester says as I shake her elegant manicured hand. I smile politely, gazing around the marble hallway. Working here is my last chance to start fresh. I can pretend to be whoever I like, but I'll soon learn that the Winchester secrets are far more dangerous than my own. So everybody hiding something. I'm here for it. I've heard really good things about it. I know they're going to make this into a movie in December, so I would like to read the entire series before the movie comes out, and I believe the movie comes out on Christmas. Next book that I have is another Frida McFadden book, and this is The Tenant. I have not been wowed by Frida McFadden just yet. I keep reading her books because they are books that you can quickly read and get through. They're not terrible by any means, but they're not my favorite either, and so I keep hoping that the next one is going to be best. But The Boyfriend, I know a lot of people love that. I was not here for it. Did not care for it. 10 out of 10 do not recommend, but that's just me personally. I didn't like it. Anyway, I'm still going to keep reading Frida McFadden because why not? I also want to read The Crash. Danger lives right at home, and by the time Blake realizes it, it'll be far too late. The trap is already set, so I'm guessing this is about a tenant from hell. This is definitely reminding me of The Worst Roommate Ever. Have y'all seen that series? If you're not a true crime fan, you probably won't like it, but I'm telling y'all, like, It had me side-eyeing. Like, I have this book, She's Not Sorry by Mary Kubica. Y'all, all of these stickers are really killing me. So this was a Barnes & Noble monthly pick, and this is a Barnes & Noble exclusive. It has the sprayed edges that says, "Not everyone has remorse." And apparently this is a bestseller that BookTok is calling absolutely amazing and impossible to put down. Megan has always tried to stay emotionally detached from her patients, but this time she mistakenly lets herself get too close until she's deeply entangled in a patient's life. Only when it's too late does she realize that she and her daughter could be the next victims. Wow. The Reformatory by Tanana Reeve Dude. I'm so sorry if I'm not pronouncing that correctly. So this is in Gracetown, Florida, June 1950. The Reformatory is a hallucinatory, haunting, terrifying, and moving work of historical fiction. This is a book that seems like it is going to be one that resonates with me, one that sticks with me. Again, the fact that there are black characters and this is in the Jim Crow South. I know I'm gonna have to be emotionally prepared for this book because it's either gonna really anger me and piss me off when I think about some of the things that this country has done to people that look like me, and I'm sick of it. So I know I need to be in the right space when I read that. Next, I have All the Colors of the Dark by Quist Whitaker. We have in Montclair, Missouri, 1975. Patch, a poor boy from the wrong side of town, emerges as a local hero after saving the life of the wealthy family's daughter. In doing so, he leaves heartache in his wake. Patch soon discovers that the line between triumph and tragedy has never been finer, and that his act of bravery might just cost him everything. Yeah, this book came out last year, and it was on a read with Jenna. It was a Barnes & Noble book club pick, and I think once it made it to the Barnes & Noble monthly club pick, that's what got my attention. I try to pay attention to what Barnes & Noble chooses for the month. I don't get them all, but this is one that I kept seeing over and over and over and over and over again, and I believe I got this during my Barnes & Noble birthday book haul. I have The Party by Natasha Preston. I did start this book already, and I look forward to actually coming back and finishing it. I will start it back over from the beginning, but this is about a group of teenagers who go to a family's castle to have a party, but then the bodies hit the floor and ish goes left. So I look forward to reading The Party. I do know Natasha Preston has written several novels at this point, so if I like this one, I'm looking forward to reading more of them. Yeah, I enjoyed what I read of it thus far, but I did choose to prioritize other books because I just wasn't in the mood for it. But now I'm in my mystery thriller season era, so here we are. Next, I have Love Mom by Ileana Xander. I did have this book through Kindle Unlimited, I'm pretty sure. So she looks in her mom's diary and she sees the line, "Want to know a secret? Love Mom." What she reads leave her in shock. Mackenzie is her name. Then comes the second letter and the third. Mackenzie starts her own investigation, stumbling upon secrets that her family has lived with for years. Quickly, she realizes that her mother's path to stardom was etched in sinister lies that might have caught up with her. So I look forward to reading Love Mom. Like I said, I do believe that that's on Kindle Unlimited. I think that's how it's got on my radar, but I ended up seeing it in person during my last Barnes & Noble trip, which I really should be staying out of Barnes & Noble, just to be quite frank. Moving on, I have Kill Creatures by Rory Power. She is the same author of Wilder Girls, which was based on Lord of the Flies. I do have Wilder Girls. I've never read it before. I do look forward to reading it. It's not a priority right now, but I will get to it eventually. Last summer, Luce, Eddie, Jane, and Nan took a boat out for one final swim in the river. It was a perfect summer night. Eddie, Jane, and Luce disappeared, and Nan's story has always been the same. She has no idea what happened. The girls went ahead, and it was as though they vanished into thin air. 1 year later, the town has gathered at the river for a memorial, and Nan even recreated the outfit she wore that fateful day last summer. And when Luce climbs out of the water, no one is more surprised than Nan, because Nan killed her right before she killed Edie or Eddie. Edie, it's probably Edie, and Jane. That's crazy. That's crazy. Y'all, I saw this and I liked it because of the cover. It looks like it has multiple timelines, like a then and now type perspective and view. Wow, I am really intrigued, y'all. I have to read this. I have to read it. Next, we have The Book of Cold Cases by Simone St. James. I do have another book by this author. I just can't remember what it is right now. I think it's like the Sundown Motel or something like that. I think I got their book of the month. It says a true crime blogger gets more than she bargained for while interviewing the woman acquitted of 2 cold case slayings in this chilling novel by the New York Times bestselling author of the Sundown Motel. So I was correct. I do have it. The title alone is what got me, but also the fact that this is a book about cold cases and an interview, and it's a true crime blogger. I mean, it gives me everything that I'm looking for. And maybe I will film a video one day about like my experience with true crime and like why I listen to it and how that impacts my day-to-day life, because it does create anxiety. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. When stuff happens, like, it tends to go to worst case scenario for me. We'll talk more about it in the video. Next is another true crime type mystery thriller book, and that is Tell Me What You Did. And this is about a woman who has a podcast or a radio show or something like that, and she gets people to confess their crimes. But there's one particular caller that knows that she's hiding a secret, and he thinks it's time for the truth to come out. I look forward to reading it. I've never read anything by this author. I do have the Kindle version. I don't think it's on Kindle Unlimited. I purchased the Kindle version before I purchased the physical copy. Either way, I look forward to reading it. Moving right along, we have The Perfect Couple by Ellen Hildebrand. Now, I know people tend to associate this with summer, and I believe I actually read this book before. I'm pretty sure I read it before. I got this at TJ Maxx for $7.99. Thankfully, the sticker is on the back and not the front. I appreciate that. And it says they're the perfect couple about to have the perfect wedding until a shocking discovery reveals that nothing is ever as good as it seems. And I'm pretty sure, y'all, I read this book. It does have a Netflix series based on it. Next, I have The Missing Half by Ashley Flowers. And this is about a sister who is two women hunted by their sister's unsolved disappearances, band together in this captivating mystery from Ashley Flowers. She is the podcaster from Crime Junkie. I am a paid annual subscriber. I got my card in there. They sent me a birthday card with a sticker, y'all. Can't tell me nothing. I still have the original card that Ashley Flowers wrote by hand to me when I first joined years ago. I believe at this point it was maybe like 4 or 5 years ago. It's been a minute. So this is her second book, and I did start reading this before, and I kind of just soft DNF'd it because I wanted to come back to it at another time. Now I feel like I'm ready for it, so I look forward to reading The Missing Half. Y'all real ones for staying here thus far. I'm almost done, y'all. Next, I have Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay, and this is from the best-selling author of The Cabin at the End of the World. I've seen that before. Look at this. You got like notes on the inside cover. You got the red sprayed edges. I mean, I can do with or without the sprayed edges, but I just like the annotations here. This is taking place in 1993. I was born in 94, so The group of young guerrilla filmmakers spent 4 weeks making Horror Movie, a notorious, disturbing art house horror flick. The weird part, only 3 of the film scenes were ever released to the public, but Horror Movie has nevertheless grown a rabid fan base. 3 decades later, Hollywood is pushing for a big budget reboot. Wow. Horror Movie is an obsessive, psychologically chilling, and suspenseful feat of storytelling genius that builds inexorably to an unforgettable mind-building conclusion. Y'all, this is how I know I'm getting tired, because I've been doing too much reading, and now my brain is not computing words anymore. Second to last book, we have The Ghostwriter by Julie Clark. I got this through Book of the Month, and it's June 1975. The Taylor family shatters in a single night when 2 teenage siblings are found dead in their own home. The only surviving sibling, Vincent, never shakes the whispers and accusations that he was the one that killed them. Decades later, the legend only grows as his career as a horror writer skyrockets. After 50 years of silence, Vincent Taylor is finally ready to talk about what really happened the night of 1975. Y'all, I'm not gonna lie to you. So I have the Book of the Month version, but I am gonna upgrade to the standard edition because it has like the little spray edge, and I'm just here for it. Like, I know to a lot of people that really doesn't make a difference, but I am an aesthetic girly, and even though I don't have any other justification besides the fact that I just want it. I want what I want, but I'm gonna hold on to this for now because it's not a high priority for me to replace. And then last but not least, I have The Compound by Eileen Raleigh, and says nothing to lose, everything to gain, winner takes all. The Compound is an explosive debut from a major new voice of fiction and will linger in your mind after the game ends. So this is about a group of individuals that goes to this remote desert compound for a reality TV show, and they're having to compete to get certain things like food, appliances, front door, things like that, catching everything that's going on. But when the producers raise the stakes, forcing contestants into upsetting, even dangerous situations, the line between playing the game and surviving it begins to blur. If Lily makes it to the end, she'll receive prizes beyond her wildest dream, but what would she have to do to win? And I'm guessing some pretty gruesome things. This is very much can be a summer book, but I'm also interpreting this as this can be an early fall book as well. This cover gives me summer and fall. It is what it is. So I look forward to reading it. If you stuck around this long, shout out to you. Thank you for holding it down. Thank you for being here this long. If you have, again, any of your own recommendations, I would love to see them down in the comments down below. If there are any books that I mentioned that you would look forward to reading, or you want a buddy read with, I mean, hey, I got a little more time on my hands, so why not? Feel free to let me know down in the comments. Thank you again. If you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so. And with that being said, I will see you the next time where I talk about why I resigned from teaching. Bye, y'all.